I'm Ashley Rogers, and this is Jared York, and we're the co-founders of Yorkholo Brewing Company. Yorkholo Brewing Company and Restaurant, we started in 2011, so we're 4 years old. It was named after one of the owners' dairy farms, so Yorkholo was established in 1861, the farm was, and when they went to register the cattle with the state, there's a restriction on the amount of letters that could be in the farm name, so they shortened Hollow down to H-O-L-O. And the guy that's our logo is Ralph York. He is the grandfather of one of the owners, and he was the last one that ran the dairy farm. We make as much of our food in-house as we possibly can. We source as much ingredients as we can from local farmers. Milky Way Farms, we get all of our beef from. All of our local herb corner. Our bread is made locally, and we get a bunch of other produce from local farmers. As the season starts to get warmer, we obviously pick that up a little bit more. We try to do events. Every Tuesday we have trivia. We have select dollar drafts during trivia, for some fun. The winner wins a $30 gift card. We have music the first Friday of every month.
Like 8 or so years ago, Ashley and I were in a craft beer, drinking it, and home brewing it, and we'd have to travel if we wanted to go to any brew pubs, so this was kind of like a dead zone for craft beer. So we kind of cooked up the idea of opening our own small brewery, and I got a degree in biology at Mansfield University, and once I started researching into it, kind of went hand in hand. There's a lot of biology, a lot of chemistry. One thing I liked about it, because there was some artistic creativity involved in the process. So that's kind of where it started. And then the beers are kind of, it's hard to put what we have in stone because the creative process, I have a plan of what I may brew, and then 2 weeks later I kind of change my mind or change the recipe. Since we opened, I'd say like the only beer that is still available is the Bungie Blonde, and that was one that we just focused on making it so that it was kind of crafted to the locals, not too hoppy, not too out there, just kind of malty and clean. Since then, we've evolved towards more Belgian beers. We went with a small brew house because of we like fresh beer. I mean, beer has a shelf life just like everything else. So having a smaller brew house, batches are only on tap for a month, 3 or 4 months at the most. To sell off-site more often than we do now, but as soon as it's like you make something and you let it go, and like other people, they don't understand it, or they may not explain to the customers as well as you may be able to. So it's kind of hard, kind of pulled back from doing it. The recipes are constantly changing. I mean, like you always learn something new, water chemistry, or like there's a new hop available, or like a new yeast you want to try out. So everything is constantly evolving. It's not like the double, if you come in and try it 3 months ago, it's going to be different with this batch. So this is our brew house. It's a 3-barrel, 93 gallons. This here is the mash tun. There's like some grates right here, and what I do is fill full of water, and then I add the barley, and you kind of want between 150 and 155 degrees. It's kind of called the brewer's window. That's where all the sugars and enzymes and proteins are released from the barley. And that kind of like stews for an hour, and then after that I drain it slowly with adding more water on top of it into the kettle over here. That gets filled up, and then that's kind of where it's cooked, boiled, and that's where the hops and spices or anything else goes into the beer. And then after that, that could be 60 minutes to 120 minutes depending on the brew. I got a heat exchanger behind there that you have to cool down the beer because it's at like 212. You got to cool it down to below 80 degrees. I prefer like around 68, 70 degrees before you can pitch your yeast. What sets us different than local areas is just having the fresh beer. Our license is a brewery license, so we can only serve what we brew here on premise. We can't sell any other people's beers. We focus a lot on teaching our servers and our bartenders on craft beer. So any questions that a customer may have, they will be able to answer.